Hello there, everybody. Welcome to a MapleStory training guide for 2025. I've had some requests to update/remake my training guide, and I figured with the Stargazer patch and the big GMS summer update coming, I figured I would do that. Just as a forewarning, there will be timestamps in the description to take you to certain areas of the video for different level ranges depending on what you want to do. And always keep in mind that this video is more targeted to the newer or returning player who doesn't maybe know as much. Obviously, if you're somebody who plays this game frequently already, you very likely do not need to hear this. But if you want to hear me yap for whoever knows how long this video will be, then feel free. And as always, please like the video if you find any of this helpful, and of course consider subscribing, as bigger number equal better person. With that being said, MapleStory in 2025 is a lot different than you may remember it, especially if you're a returning player even from like 2 years ago, year and a half ago. The game has significantly changed. And what do I mean by that? Well, I am currently in the reboot server, or as it's now known, where is the heroic passive? It's called heroic. Right here, heroic. Heroic is basically just a rebranded reboot, and one of the big differences between reboot and interactive or regular servers used to be that the monster scaling was significantly different. Monster scaling is no longer significantly different. Monsters in reboot are the exact same as they are in regular servers. That means HP, that means XP. That also means level difference. The level difference thing has changed, and I will be kind of walking you through it. Here are some basic rules that you want to take into account if you're grinding a character, okay? And I say if you're grinding a character because there is a way to not grind a character. Well, there's multiple ways, but I'll go over them all. Do not worry. If you're grinding a character, keep these 3 things in mind. You want to typically be at least 20 levels below the monster you're killing. Like when you move to a new area, you should be moving to a monster that is 20 levels higher than you. Why 20 levels? Well, 20 levels is sort of where the breakpoint is for a comfortable like level differential. Like the level differential, basically the range is from like 0 to 20, both plus and minus, and if you're obviously on the lower end of it, you want to be 20. You can do it earlier, but the added penalties for being outside of the 20 range is significant. And especially if you're a newer player, you may already kind of struggle to kill the 20 differential monsters as it is. But again, I don't think you'll have too much issue because the monsters are fairly easy to kill, even without a built-up account, legion, links, all that stuff. Second thing you want to keep in mind, always prioritize burning over anything else while leveling, especially sub 200. Burning is something that unlocks at level 100, on level 100 plus maps, but the reason you want to prioritize this over anything else, including like map layout, spawn count, anything, burning is a flat multiplier. Here, let me go to just a random map that has burning. Leaf Fray, just to show you what I mean. Let's go to like nest golems. This map will have burning. So you see here, it says burning stage 10, 100% bonus XP. This is the maximum amount of burning that you can get on a map, and what this means is whenever I kill a nest golem, because it's burning level 10, it gives me 100% additional XP. This XP cannot be like modified by any multipliers or anything. It's just, well, that's not entirely true. Look, you'll understand later, but basically you can't modify this experience in any way. It's just a flat multiplier on the base experience of the monster, but when you're leveling low levels, this multiplier is absolutely enormous. Because basically every monster you're killing, it counts, you're basically killing 2, right? So that's why I say prioritize burning over literally everything else. Because even, like, if you compare a map with 0 burning, that may be like slightly better layout or slightly more monsters, it's never going to beat a map that has 100% burning. Literally ever. Never, ever, ever. So that's the second rule. The third rule is always, always, always be training in a Starforce map once they are unlocked. Again, Starforce maps unlock at level 100. You can kind of see here, these are like the beginning Starforce monster maps. Level 107, level 110. Starforce is a system in this game. You can take a look at your equipment. You can star your equipment. A map with a 15 Starforce requirement would mean you need 15 stars across all of your pieces of gear. You can easily see how much Starforce you have if you open up your character info panel, and down here, Starforce. It tells you your total Starforce. Joining a guild can also get you some free Starforce from the guild skill right here, plus 25 Starforce. There's also titles that... Sorry, my titles are very messy. You might have this Budding Sprout title, for example, if you're a new player. Titles can also give you Starforce, or you might have a Hyperburn title, which also gives you Starforce. But my point is there are different sources of Starforce that you can get that is aside from just starring your gear. Just keep that in mind, and make sure you utilize all of these sources to gain Starforce. That being said, let's begin with where we're actually going to be going for leveling, now that we have the base rules out of the way. Well, actually, that's a lie. I should mention the other possible way to level a character now. You can... So, another big change that they made in this game is they changed the questing in this game, right? You can kind of see it here. There's main quests. And obviously, since my character... I'm just doing this on my main to make it easier to record, but you can't see all of the quest lines. But basically, you're able to follow the main quest line from level 1 all the way up to level 200, and it's honestly not that bad of an idea to do it, and especially if you're a very new, like a new player on a new account that isn't super built up and you're not super familiar, or maybe you just don't want to grind anymore, you want to take a break and do like quests. The main quest line is actually a very viable alternative, and it does not take very long. You can do it all the way up to 200, you can stop whenever you want, you don't have to do it all the way to 200, maybe you want to do a little bit of grinding, maybe you want to do a little bit of main quests. My point is, this is very, very worth it, if you want to do that kind of content. And then also, the Maple Guide is very, very useful, and you will get to be very intimate with the Maple Guide. Now, let's get on to the training maps. Alright, so like I did with my last video, I will always try to offer at least 1 or 2 alternative maps to train in, and for the first level, like, say you spawn in, you're level 10. The first map that I always like to go to is this map right here, the Blue Mushroom Forest. Reason being, there's not really a super good monster to go to until you get some levels in you. And the thing that I like about this map is it has a absolute ton of spawns on it. You can kind of see there's so many spawns on this map. And it's a pretty simple map layout. It's just 3 platforms. A lot of classes, even in first job, can hit multiple platforms if you jump attack here. Obviously, not every class will be able to, but just in general, this map, I always go to it. I never have issues with it. And I usually stay here until I'm like level 20, 25-ish range. Depending on how I feel. Sometimes when I was newer, I would stay here until 30 to get my job advancement. But again, it's just up to you. It does slow down a little bit the closer you get to 30, so that's kind of why I stay here until 20, 25. An alternative to this map, you have a couple alternatives, and I will mention that you can kill Blue Mush Mom. You can farm Blue Mush Mom. I know some people really enjoy doing this, so the map right above it, the Blue Mushroom Forest, from the Blue Mushroom Forest. Blue Mushroom can spawn, and if you change channel after killing Blue Mushroom, unless there's a lot of people doing this, you're probably going to get a Blue Mushroom in every single channel you check. Blue Mushroom does give a good little boost of experience, and some people would rather do this than just regular train. If that's you, go for it, no worries. But I typically don't like just channel surfing over and over. If you don't like the blue mushrooms, the other map that I really, really like is this one, Flaming Mix Golems. This is the classic map that I'm sure if you're an older player or a returning player, you probably remember this map. The reason why I don't typically go here first is kind of twofold. This map has like 5, you can kind of see 5 platforms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this can be kind of annoying to navigate, especially in first job. And the spawn, while it is very localized to these like 4 or 5 platforms, depending on how you look at it, I just find the blue mushrooms better. And the blue mushrooms are also better for combo orb generation, but that's not something that I'm going to get into for this, because there's more blue mushrooms. Anyways, I think that concludes our level 20-25 area, so next, let's take us to the next map. Oh, right. So the next map that I always go to, and I go to this, like I said, around level 20, 25 range. I mean, these monsters are level 42, this map that I'm in, but you can go here as early as 20. Because again, keep in mind, we want to be within a 20 level range. So if I'm level 20, I want to go to a level 40 monster. If I'm level 22, I can go to the 42 monster. I mean, you can go here anyways, but like I said, this is the next area that I try to go to, and I always try to go to this area ASAP for one big reason, and that is because I'm not sure if I will actually be able to spawn a rune, but at monster level maps that are above 30, you're able to start spawning runes. And runes are very, very good for leveling. Reason being, they, again, kind of like the burning thing that I talked about earlier, it's just another additional multiplier of experience on top of regular like multipliers for experience you get, right? So it just makes your leveling significantly faster, and because you're low level, multiplier like 100% or 50% multipliers really, really help a lot. And runes, with certain link skills, with the Evan link skill specifically, you can make runes last up to 5 minutes per activation, and runes have a cooldown of 15 minutes, so you can kind of see how powerful runes are. And again, runes only start spawning in maps above level 30, so that's why I always try to go here as soon as possible. So either 20 or 22, depending on how you're able to kill them or how you're feeling personally, because there's no right or wrong way to do this. I honestly would just stay in one of these Savage Terminal maps, either this one, or this one. They're all the exact same, and Savage Terminal is in Grandis. I'm just assuming you all have access to a Hyper Teleport Rock. This is very reboot pilled. You can just walk from Savage Terminal, and the way to get to all of these places, you can typically get to most towns from the Maple Guide just by teleporting to the town directly. And some of these areas you can't, and some of these areas are more annoying, but like I said, I just assume you have a Hyper Rock because, unfortunately, that's just kind of how I am. I'm a reboot player. As far as alternative maps, I don't really have an alternative map for this level range. I have never not went here, so this is one of the few level ranges that I just don't have an alternative map for. I mean, okay, I do have an alternative map if you really don't like this map. Here, give me a second. Alright, so this is the alternative map for the level 20-25 range. If you really don't like the Savage Terminal map, or you're somebody who doesn't have a rock, and you don't want to figure out how to get to Savage Terminal, because I don't even know how to get to Savage Terminal normally, I'll be completely honest with you. This is in Kerning City Subway. This is the Sturge Junior Wraith map. You can also go to the just pure Sturge map. You can also go to the Wraith Junior Wraith Sturge map. This map isn't bad. I have used this map in the past. I've also used this map in the recent-ish past, like semi-recent-ish past, just because sometimes I like to kill different monsters, and I get that. So I kind of forgot about this map up until I was like, I don't have any alternatives, so here it is. Next map we're going to be going to, though, is something that I like quite a bit. We're only going to be staying at this map for, like, 10 levels, so you want to end your Savage Terminal / Sturge Wraith map grind around level 35. I think 35 is where you want to end it. Oh yeah, and the problem with this map is the fact that it's, like, 2 areas, basically. Which, obviously, since I'm 6 job and have Soul Janus, I can full clear the map, but yeah. But like I said, if you want something different, this map is viable. But you're going to stay here until, like, 35, or up to 40 if you want. And then we're going to go to the next map. The next map, of course, is still in good old Victoria Island, and we're just kind of up here in Parion. Wild Boars. This map, absolutely goated. The Wild Boars are level 55, which is why I say stay at the previous map until 35. Obviously, you can stay longer if you feel like you want to, or you feel like you're a little weak for the Boars, if you're like on a newer account, new player, returning, whatever. But Wild Boars are very, 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 very good. This map is insane. The spawn is so large. The one problem is sometimes this map may be a little bit popular. And if that is the case, that's okay. We do have alternatives to this map. The alternatives just aren't as good. But there are a couple different boar maps. You have Iron Hogs, you have Iron Boars, you have Iron and Fire Boars, you have Fire Boars. They're slightly higher level, but they are also alternatives. Each of these maps are alternatives, so if this map is a little full, you can always go to those. But let me take you to the alternative map that I always go to. They are a little bit higher level, though, so if you have to go to these as like an alternative to this level range map, then you might want to try and get a couple more levels at the Savage Terminal Monsters or the Sturges and Wraiths. Okay, so this is the alternative to Wild Boars. These monsters are level 61, 62. They're just skelly dogs. And it's over here in Parion. We were over here. Now we're on the right side of Parion. Right here, the Excavation Intermission area. I like this map because it is kind of small and it has a ton of spawn. It is very annoying to navigate, and I'm not going to say that it's not annoying to navigate, but around second job, I think a lot of classes are able to clear this map mostly okay. And you also do have an alternative if you go into this portal right here. There's a little hidden portal. If you go in here, this map is pretty much, if you're familiar with Drakes, which you will be because we will be going to Drakes like basically immediately after this, as another alternative. This map is basically an exact alternative to Drakes, in that there's a portal that takes you all the way to the top. You can just kind of down jump, kill, 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 and then portal, kill, 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 which makes grinding on this map very, very easy. Obviously, the downside to this map is there's less spawn than outside, but it's significantly more brain dead and easier to full clear the map. And of course, the next alternative is going to be Drakes. Drakes. Drakes are level 66, and if you're keeping track, you want to be at least level 46 before coming to Drakes. Honestly, though, I usually just stay at Wild Boars or Skelly Dogs, and I usually skip Drakes, because Drakes, especially during like level up events, this map has a very big tendency to be packed. And if we don't get the instance changes with the Stargazer patch, which we might, but I don't think we will, since KMS just got it for maps under level 60, but I'm never counting out what QOL we could get, this map is likely going to be packed if you're playing during an event. And trying to find a map when your multipliers are running can be kind of annoying. Also, it's just annoying to change channel. Sometimes it makes people's crash, you know? But this map is still very good. It is one of the greatest maps, and that's why it's packed all the time. But this is for level, let's say, 46. You stay at Boars or Skelly Dogs until 46, and then you can come to Drakes until... Honestly, if you come here, you can probably stay here until 70. On, like, the high end, I guess. If you're an account that's already built, you can probably leave in your mid-60s. But this map is just very good for how many spawns are on the map, for how easy it is to clear the map, all that good stuff. There is an alternative to Drakes, and I will be going there right meow. I am in the new map, but I realized I forgot to show where Drakes are. So it's in Sleepywood and Victoria Island, 6-Path Crossway, Sleepywood, and it's right here, Silent Swamp. But the alternative map to Drakes, these are slightly higher level, 71, so you want to be 51 before coming here. But you can go to any of these maps, honestly. They're all differing, and they're all not that bad. But I like this map because it's sort of similar to Drakes in that it's up and down. You don't get teleported, but you get bounced back up pretty much to the top, and then you just down jump, down jump, down jump, till you get to the bounce pad again, and then you're back up at the top. Very simple map to clear. You'll notice a lot of these maps, you have to factor in the amount of spawns versus how easy it is to clear. That's really what we're looking for at these low levels, because there's not much else we can look for. You know, there's no burning, there's no starforce, there's no anything like that. But again, you can stay here until... Honestly, if you go here, you could probably stay here until 75, 80 if you really wanted to. But I think for most people, I would recommend mid-60s to early 70s is when you'd probably want to be departing these maps, and I'll take you to the next map. Alright, so we're here at the next map. These monsters are level 89, 90, so again, you probably want to be 69, 70 before you come here. And of course, Sahel 2 is a very popular map, even from the olden days. This map is still very good. completely flat, decent amount of spawn, and it's fairly small, so it's very easy to clear this map. Problem is, this map can be pretty popular. Another map that is quite good is right above it, the Desert of Serenity. This map is pretty much Sahel 2. Again, there might be a little bit less amount of like monsters that spawn on this map, but it's not like a huge deal, especially since these levels go by so fast. And this is kind of where you stay until you start to transition into the level 100 maps. Like the maps with level 100 monsters, not until you're level 100, right? So you want to try to stay here until like 80. What I usually do is I stay here until I get into the level range for roids, and then I go to roids. So I will be showing roids off here in a minute, but this is an Ariant, and roids will be over here in Megatia. I can never remember which one of these maps is the map that I like to go to, but you can see that roids are level 95. So if you do want to go to roids, you want to be like at least 75 before you go here. People like this map. I know this. People like this map, but this is not the map that I usually go to. The reason why people like this map is because you can kind of see on the map that Security Camera is a mini boss that can spawn here, and Security Camera does give a good amount of experience, like extra experience that you wouldn't normally be getting. But the map that I usually go to, I think, is C2. Yeah, this is the map that I usually train in. Reason why I like this map is because it's basically just a large, massive, flat platform. Obviously, you can kind of see there's a couple spawns on these like little structures, but on a class that has a rush skill, I just rush back and forth, left and right, left and right. And if it has a summon, I'll put like the summon here, and then it will kill the guys who stand on top of the boxes, and it's a very, very chill time. And then I always stay here until I'm able to move to the leaf ray maps, which again, I would stay here until 80 to 85, depending on how comfortable you feel with your power level and just ability to kill monsters. Keep that in mind. But the next map we will be going to, I will take us to. Alright, so just like in my last video, you can kind of see Burning Stage level 10. This is my absolute favorite map to go to. The spawn on this map is fucking amazing. It's 2 sides of 3 platforms with a portal. There's a portal right over here, and the portal takes you here. So this map is honestly absolutely amazing, and I love it to death. And it's very nice to see that it has 100% burning. I would come here, like I said, between 80 85, depending on how you are. These monsters are level 83. That's right. Or no, they're not 83. You need to be level 83, I thought, because I thought they were 103, but they're 104, so you need to be level 84, ideally. So, like I said, anywhere between 80 to 85. Honestly, coming to this map a little bit earlier isn't even like the worst, even if you do get more penalties, because, like I said, you get Burning Stage, and Burning Stage adds a ton of experience per kill. Because every time you kill one of these, basically like you're killing 2 of them if you're on a 100% burning map, which, like, I'm in Kronos, which is the more popular reboot server, and this map is 100% burning. Obviously, this map will not be 100% burning if you're playing during, like, an event or whatever, and that's kind of why I'm here to tell you, any of these maps are very, very good. It just depends on whatever has the most burning. Like, you can go to, like, Beetles, Dual Beetles, you can go to regular Rashes, you can go to Hoblins, Green Hoblins, go to any of these maps. Just whatever has the most burning. Dual Beetles is the other map that I always try to check. This map also has 100 burning. This is not a bad map. There's a portal right here. Takes you to the very top. The portal is kind of stacked on top of each other, so if you're able to just continually down jump over and over and able to clear the whole map, which is kind of hard to do without summons because the 2 platforms over here, you're able to just down jump repeatedly and then go in the portal. Very reminiscent of Drakes and whatnot. But like I said, you basically just want to go to any map that has burning. The most burning wins here. And you want to stay here until level 90, or if you're a newer player or somebody who doesn't have a super built account, maybe until the 4th job, because the next monsters that I go to are Kentosaurus, which is a Starforce map. And I will take a small break to, again, explain Starforce a little bit. When you pick up equipment drops, like every single piece of equipment in this game, regardless of what it is, what level it is able to be Starforced in some degree. There are some items that you can't Starforce, like pocket items, but those are like those are niche and edge cases. Pretty much every actual equipment item will be able to be Starforced in some amount. So before going to these Starforce maps, like for the Kentaris map that I want to go to next, it requires 15 Starforce. That means you need to click on the enhancement, you need to star a piece of gear 15 times, or not a piece of gear, but you need to have a collective 15 stars amongst your equipped equipment, right? In order to be able to deal full damage. Because if you don't, you won't deal full damage. That's the downside to this. And you can kind of see the little Starforce bar here. You can see that I have 344 Starforce, so I'm almost 2,300% over the requirement. And it caps the amount of damage that you do and the amount of damage that you take. So I gain a 1.2x multiplier because I have more Starforce than I need. And obviously if I had less Starforce, it would reduce my damage by certain percentage breakpoints. So that's why it's important to have Starforce requirements. You don't need to meet the Starforce requirement, but it definitely helps if you are already weak, i.e. you're not an account that has like Legion or Lynx. It can significantly help. And the reason why we want to go to Starforce monsters is because the amount of experience these monsters give is so much higher than regular non-Starforce monsters. It is better to go to a 0% burning map with Starforce monsters than it is to go to a non-Starforce map with, like, good burning. And that's just being real with you. Starforce monsters are basically giga-juiced. So keep that in mind. From now on, you only want to be going to maps that have Starforce monsters, and ideally you still want to be chasing high burning. For this, again, I say level 90 or level 100, depending on your account status. Would stay here until... I mean, you can stay here. You can jump around these different Starforce maps. There's a couple different Starforce maps. Like, you can go to Dark Wyverns if you're really bored and you get to like level 121, but I wouldn't recommend it. At that level, I would stay here until probably level 110-ish, if I'm being honest. And then I would go to the next map. There's no alternatives for this map, really. I mean, your alternatives are right next to each other, or the harps. But the next map is... Here is the next map. Banes. Banes and Cerberus. This is not the map that I like the most, but I went to this map because this is the alternative map. And like I said, these monsters are very, very high level, and that's kind of why I said you want to stay to the Kentarises until at least 110. And the Starforce requirement on this map is also very, very big comparatively to the Kentaris. So you will need to Starforce your equipment to at least get to 55, ideally. Ideally, you go over it, especially if you're a new player, the damage can help. This is the map that I always go to, Cave of Trials 3. And ideally, you want to be level 116 minimum coming here. But you can come here earlier if you're on a more built account and you don't feel like leveling at Kentaris anymore. But this is just what I do. Again, keep that in mind. There is no right or wrong way to do things. This is just what I personally do. You are also able to go to things like Thanatos, for example. If I can type Thanatos correctly. Thanatos. Which are slightly lower level. They're level 122, so you could go here at 102 and then go from here to Banes. But I usually just make the jump from Kentaris to Banes directly. I used to go to Thanatos, but I just found I'm lazy, and the less maps I have to move, the better. This map is very, very good, though. It's just left to right. The platforms are quite janky. You definitely get stuck in the lava a lot. Help me, step bro, I'm stuck in the lava. That was a comment I made in my first training video that I thought was funny, and so did many other people. There is a portal right there. I did get knocked down because of the poison. You take the portal, takes you to the left side. You can go either left to right, right to left. It doesn't really matter. It's all up to you, baby girl. Whatever you prefer. But I would stay on this map until you are at least the same level as these Banes. So you're looking at like level 136, 135, that range. And then the next map we will be going to is my favorite, Kerning Tower. Now, Kerning Tower is a very, very interesting area. These monsters currently, these are the lowest level Starforce monsters. They're 155. So like I said, you want to be pretty much the same level as the Banes before you leave them. And level 155 is the lowest level monsters. Pretty much 155, you can go to either the espresso machines or the grape jelly juice. Both of these maps are basically identical. It's just whatever has the most burning / is the least populated. And you can kind of see there are multiple levels to the tower, escalating in level. And I typically stay here until level 165, because I believe 165 is the level range you need to go to the Knight Stronghold, and I usually move from here at 165. I cannot remember if it's 165 or 170. I think it's 165. If it's 170, then I stay here until 170. If it's 165, I stay here until 165. I can't remember, and I'm so sorry for that. But basically, you can just incrementally move your way up the tower as you go. The very top floor isn't like the greatest layout maps. Like, this map isn't bad, but I've definitely played some classes here that have a harder time clearing this layout. But like I said, it's not bad. And this is pretty much always permanently 100 burning because you have 2 maps you can choose from, and both of these maps are essentially the same thing. Like, they're not. You can see the layout is slightly different, like slightly different, but for all intents and purposes, these maps are basically identical, and it's the same way all the way up. So, when I hit 165 or 170, I can't remember, I'm sorry, you unlock the ability to go to the Knight Stronghold, and that is where we will be going next. I'm pretty sure it's 165, so I hope that's right, because I'm, like, convinced that it's 165. But the Knight Stronghold unlocks at 165 or 170, and this is where I stay until, I mean, I've stayed here until, like, level 185, 190. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I have done it before. And you basically have the choice between any of these maps, right? You have first drill hole, you have second drill hole, which is the map that I usually go to, second drill hole. You have Armory 1, Armory 2. Basically, any of these maps are good. Pick the one that you like the most and stay here. I like this map the most just because, I don't know, it brings back memories, man. This isn't the old second drill hole, but it is still second drill hole in name, and that's all I care about. It also is not a bad layout. It's portal. Very easy, up, down. The mobs are pretty chill. The map layout is not bad, like, at all. But like I said, you just pick any of these maps, and just grind here. You want to grind here until, I would say, I mean, okay, here's the real of it. You grind here until you're able to go to either stumps or pillaging boars. So, theoretically, you can go here at 172 or 170, which is true, but you'll notice the Starforce requirement is 160 on these maps. And the Starforce requirement here is 120, which is typically why, that's exactly why I stayed here so light on one of my characters. Like I said, I mentioned I stayed here until like 185 once. If you're not able to get the Starforce requirement or able to kill these monsters effectively, you can stay here for a very, very long time. It's just, it depends, right? Because at this point, you're pushing for really, really high Starforce. But Starforce assuming you can move to pillaging boars or stumps at 170 or 172. But realistically, just move to these maps whenever you're able to kill them effectively and have the Starforce to do so effectively. And again, you don't necessarily need to have the Starforce requirement exactly. You will just be doing less percentage of your damage. And obviously, since you're under-leveled, you will also be doing a less percentage of your damage because there's a penalty, like a level penalty for being under the level of the monster. So just keep that in mind. Which is why I say you probably won't want to come here if you're like a newer or returning player who doesn't have like their account super built out, because you won't be able to effectively kill these monsters. But you stay here until level 200 in one of these 2 maps, the pillaging boars or the stumps. And honestly, you can stay at one of these maps until 200 as well. You can go to Warrior Grounds or Excavation Site. Or not Warrior Grounds, sorry. The Warrior Grounds is the non-Starforce one. Yeah, this is the non-Starforce one. You can also go here. But I don't bother, because I don't like the layout of this map. I think the layout of this map is just not very good. And I think Pillaging Boars are honestly the best. This map is just really, really good, honestly. It's very centralized. and easy to clear. A class with a summon can usually put their summon here, kill all 3 of these platforms, and then you just sit at the bottom. Very, very chill, very, very relaxing. So this is the map that I would specifically mention as the proper map to level. And you do have portals, but these portals just take you left to right. I think there is a portal. Is there a portal here? Am I hallucinating? I think I might be hallucinating. Yeah, I am hallucinating. I thought there was a portal down here. Can't remember. Oh well, there's no portal. The only portal is the one here. But once you're level 200 and you do your 5th job advancement stuff, I will still be giving you areas now. This is the difference between this guide. This guide is going to go all the way up to level... Honestly, we'll go up to 280. 285, something like that. The next area you're going to be grinding in, though, for the level 200 to 210 range, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in, like, brackets of 10. And I'm going to spend less time talking about the maps now, because I think you probably get the idea of MapleStory at this point. Arcane River, Vanishing Journey, I typically go to ECP2, Eastern Cave Path 2, though you can go to pretty much any of these cave maps. This is just the one that I like because it's very flat, very easy to hit both of these with like pretty much every mobbing attack in the game. It's just left, right, left, right, left, right. Very simple, very easy. The alternative map for this level ranges in Reverse City, so for 210, or I guess 205 to 210, but I like to go to one of the train cars. I usually go to Hidden Research Train or T-Boy's Research Train 3, one of these 2 maps. Again, it's just nice. A lot of monster spawns, very easy, left, right, nothing too crazy, not much platforming needed. Obviously, you need to hop on the platforms if you want to loot, but that's just how it goes without a vac pet past level 200. So for the 210 to 220 range, first of all, in Choo Choo, this map is one of the best maps to be in if you want to try hard, like if you really want to sweat out your raids, because there's a lot of monsters on this map, though this map is quite big and not a lot of classes will be able to effectively clear this map, and it's a lot of effort, but I figured I should mention this map as like a special nomination. The map that I usually go to is either... this map, Dealey Bobber Forest 2. Dealey Bobber Forest, you can go to 1 or 2. I like Dealey Bobber 2. I just like the name of this map, if I'm being completely honest with you, which is why I like to go here. And I also like the monsters, they're little fucking apple wolves. Very cute, very fun. And who doesn't like to say Dealey Bobber? Dealey Bobber? Dealey Bobber? You can also go to this map, Slurpy Forest Depths, which is a very popular map, just because it's very small, very simple. You go down, you go up. Very easy to clear. There's a portal here, takes you up. This map is typically very popular when there's like events, and you can kind of see that's why there's only 10% burning on this one, because people actively use this map. Again, I would say chasing burning is probably worth it, but it's up to you. Alright, for the Yum Yum Island maps, I already had to change channel because there's somebody in the one. This is the map that pretty much everyone goes to, Hidden Iliard Field. This is just 3 small platforms with 2 platforms on the side. It's very easy to kill. Pretty much every class in the game is able to just sit on this middle platform going left and right and just full clear the map. It is very chill, very, very, very relaxing, very easy. Obviously, there are some decent maps up here, but I won't be going over them, because like I said, I want to keep the pace of this video a little bit faster now, since we're more familiar with the game, and I don't think you need as much handholding. So next is going to be level 220 to 230. Alright, so the Lachlan map of my personal choice is this one. It's Victory Plates, this specific map. Victory Plates in Plate Street 2. There are so many good Lachlan maps. You can go to any of the Chicken Festival maps. You can go to any of the Outlaw Street maps. You can go to the Red Dancing Shoes. You can even go to the Clock Tower if you're a demon. You could go to Revelation Place. All of the Lachlan maps are honestly very, very good. It's just up to you. Whatever has the most burning, whatever has the layout that you fuck with the most, whatever is the least populated. But all of the Lachlan maps honestly are very, very good. This is the map that I've probably spent the most time in, either Plate 2 or Plate 1, or Outlaw Street 2. Outlaw Street 2 is my other favorite. This is another map that a lot of people don't go to, because it is kind of a janky layout, but the layout ultimately doesn't end up being that hard. You know, like place fountain up here, it clears this, and then you just deal with the bottom left and the right. Very easy to clear. All right, and then for the 235, I guess, range, since Lachlan doesn't have a sub area, but instead it just unlocks Arcana. We're in Arcana now. This is the map that I like. I like Between Frost and Thunder too. Though Arcana has a lot of good maps, Arcana also has a lot of bad maps. A lot of these maps in the lower area, their spawn caps are not very good. So you typically want to stay towards either one of these spirit maps or one of these maps up here. Between Frost and Thunder 1 and 2 are both very good. It depends on the population and burning. Like I said, I would always try to prioritize burning whenever possible. Though you don't want to go to like a really bad map at this point if it has burning versus a map that's really good that doesn't. This is the area of the game where that starts to kind of invert. Because, for example, where is this map? Like, okay, this map specifically, what is the map that I'm thinking of? What is the map that I'm thinking of? I cannot remember, but one of these maps people really like, and it's just, oh, it's just CLP. No shit. This map. People really like this map, but this map honestly isn't, like, super good. The amount of spawns is just not that crazy. And this map has been nerfed many, many times, obviously, over the years. And this map never used to have burning. But like I said, it's just, you can go to whatever map you want. It's fine. Now 240 to 250. Alright, so 240, you unlock Morass. You can go to any of the Shadow Dance Halls. These maps are all very, very good, and they're very, very popular. You're probably never going to get burning on any of these maps. I usually go to Shadow Dance Hall 3 because this map seems to be the least populated of the dance halls, but they're all very, very good. Shadow Dance Hall 2 seems to be the most popular. This map right here, there's probably going to be somebody in it. Wow, there's nobody in it right now. That's crazy. But there's usually somebody in this map. This is the most popular of the dance halls, just because it's very easy. You can like place your fountain here. The fountain will clear this side of the map, and then you just focus on this side of the map. A lot of classes can just sit here and spam like an FMA and clear everything, which is kind of why people like this map, which is totally understandable. But like I said, the dance hall's very good. Special shout out to Bully Boulevard maps. These maps actually are not bad, and I have spent a lot of time, not in this one. Is it this one? Nope, it's Bully Boulevard 1. I can't remember what map it is because I usually go here through Maple Guide. This map actually is not very bad either. Like, all of the Bully Boulevards are not bad, but this one specifically I really, really like. It's just a simple, like, left and right layout. Very easy to clear. And it's much less populated than the dance halls, so there's always options there for you. Esfera unlocks at 240. This is the map that I would always go to, but as you can see, very popular. It has somebody in it. I don't want to CC, but MTS2 is typically where I would go first, but any of the mirror touch Cs are pretty good. The combo map is this one. They just have slightly different layouts. Some people might say they're slightly worse layouts. I mean, it's just up to your preference, I guess, or what your class is able to do. And then this is MTS3. But ultimately, these are like the only good maps in Esfera. And that's just how it is. You do also unlock Celis as like a bonus zone. Celis has some really good maps. The monsters are obviously like level 250. But I really do like the Star Swallowing Sea maps, especially like, is it 4? It's not 4. Is it 5? It might be 5. It's 5 has a lot of monsters. It does seem like it'd probably be hard to clear. Is it 6? Yeah, I think this is the map that I spent a good bit of time grinding at. Something to note, though, with the Celis monsters, these monsters don't drop familiar cards, so if that's something that is, like, important to you, you probably want to stick to, like, Esfera rather than Morass. Or, Celis, excuse me. Because these don't drop familiar cards, these are just for XP. Anyways, level 250 plus, baby. Alright, so you're 250 plus, you made it to Tenebris, if you will. Specifically Moonbridge. Moonbridge is the first area you unlock. I think you unlock this at 245 these days? I'm not really sure. This used to be a 250 area, though. But this is the map that I spent a lot of time at. Standing right here, Shadow Bite farming, Last Horizon 4. There are a lot of good maps in here. Basically, just try the maps and see what you like. But I like Last Horizon 4, and I also like Void Current 2? No, I like Void Current 3, I think. Oh, the AFK mob. AFK mob is so annoying. I think it's Void Current 3 if it's not 2. Yes, this map I quite like. Reason why I like this map is because it's kind of... It looks bigger than it is, and a lot of classes should be able to pretty much clear this entire map. You might have to, like, place a fountain over here, and then kind of stand here, but you should be able to clear, like, majority of this map, and there's a lot of spawn on this map, which is why I like it. Special shout out to Void Current, is it 4? Void Current 4, I think, is the easy to farm one? No. Is it 5? No, it's 6. 6 is the easy to farm one. Good lord. If only they gave these maps a little bit more interesting naming schemes so they're a little bit more memorable. No? What the fuck am I thinking of? Void Current 1? No? No, this is it. Okay. Void Current 1 is the easy to farm map. Jesus, I'm losing my mind. This map is super easy to farm, because if you have a summon, you can place your fountain here, and then your summon here, and then you can just kind of sit in the middle of the map and just clear the middle. There's obviously a portal here too, which, if you're not somebody who has like an FMA that can hit, just sitting on the middle platform. But summon on each side, and then just sit in the middle. People like this map a lot too. It's very popular, though, compared to the other maps, which is why I usually stay in 3. 255, or I guess it'd be 250 now, but it used to be 255. We'll go to the next set. The timestamps will tell you the correct level ranges. Don't listen to me. Okay, so you made it to Labyrinth of Suffering. A lot of these maps are very samey and kind of hot garbage. The one that I spent the most time in was this one, Labyrinth of Suffering Deep Core 4. And the reason why I spent so much time in this map is just probably because class difference. But what I would do is I would put... I think I would put my fountain here. And then I would sit here. And I would just Shadow Bite. This is obviously a class difference. But this would like pretty much full clear the map back in the day when I was doing it like this. And that's why I stayed here. This map is quite good. There are some decent maps up here on the top level. Some of these construct maps with the golems and the constructs. But this is the only map that I've spent any meaningful time in the Labyrinth of Suffering. So this is the map that I would go to. Now for Limina, there's a couple different options that I like. So let's go to Limina now. Alright, so this is one of the Limina maps that I do like. Not on this character specifically when I was here, but this map is very good. It's just a left to right. You have a good place to put your fountain, either on the left or right sides, just depending on how your class kit is set up and how maybe you have summons or whatever. But it's just a simple left-right map, and there's not much to say about it, which is why I like it quite a bit. There are alternatives in Limina. There are quite a few decent maps in Limina. Another map that I spent a lot of time at, I think it was Midpoint 4. Yes. This might be Nightwalker specific. I mean, this map probably is Nightwalker specific. But I remember spending a lot of time sitting here, either here or on the top platform. I don't remember. Don't remember if I was sitting here or on the one below me. But I would just sit here shadow biting. You can place your fountain up top. I think I placed the fountain up top and then I sat here on the middle platform. But I would just hold shadow bite, pretty much clear the whole map. Very, very good map for classes that are able to do this if you like lazy farming. And then end of the world maps are very, very popular and maps that people really like because they're small. I think 2.5 is pretty good. Yeah, 2.5 is the one that I think a lot of people like to sit in, which is why there's only 20% burning. It's because it's a very small map and it's a very compact small map. You have two sides and a middle, and that's like pretty much it. and one of the sides can be completely taken care of with a fountain, the other side can be completely taken care of with like a class summon, and then you can just sit on the bottom. It's a very chill map, very easy to farm, which is why people like it. Now we're getting into Cernium, Grandis. So let's go to Cernium. Alright, so you made it to 260 and you want to know what Grandis maps to farm in. Well, maplemaps.net is basically the way that you can figure this out yourself, but I will just be showing you the maps that I have used and the maps that I like to use, especially for my mules when I do my dailies, or maps that I have previously farmed in on my Nightwalker. So this map is the first map that I really, really like. Cernium Eastern City Ramparts 2. Just fire spirits. It's a very compact map that has a lot of spawns on it. It's very easy to clear. What more is there to say? Special shout out to the library, both in regular Cernium and Burnium. The other map it's going to be in Burning Cernium. I believe it is this one. Yes, this map I used to spend a lot of time on my Nightwalker specifically. You will definitely need Soul Janus in order to clear this map comfortably, but I would just sit here and hold Shadow Bite down, so if you're a class that could do this also, because this map has a very large spawn capacity, there's a lot of monsters that spawn here, and if you're able to clear this map, it can be quite good. Quite good. And again, special shout out to the library section, both in Burnium and regular. Definitely check out these maps. Go to maplemaps.net, try to find a rotation that works for you, or just try it out in-game yourself. At this point in the game, a lot of the map choices come down to personal preference and what you want to farm, and like the rates that you get on these maps. Ooh, fragment, let me pick that up. I guess I can turn my pet loot on now. But yeah. Let's move on to Hotel Arcus. Okay, so Hotel Arcus maps aren't the greatest in terms of like spawn capacity, but this map right here, Train with No Destination 5, is very, very small, and it has a good amount of spawns on it. It doesn't have the most spawns. I think it has like 34 instead of 39, but this map, you can literally, a lot of classes can do this, especially with Soul Janus now. You can just sit in the middle of the map, hold down your FMA, or cycle your FMAs, and clear the whole map. There's definitely something to say for easy maps to farm, like lazily. Lets you put in more hours, etc. Another map that I really, really like is... I think it's either 2 or 4. Yes, it's 2. Okay. This map. I really like this map because it's like the similar to the train map, except it's just a little bit bigger and there's more spawn capacity on this map. So if you're a class that has summons, or you want to place down summons in addition to cycling like your FMA, or put in a little bit more effort when you're training, you can do it on this map. Obviously there's a lot more platforms on this map, it just kind of happens. Obviously Nexon tries to sell a solution with vac pets. If you're trying to play the game without a vac pet at this point, you're just gonna have to sacrifice rates. It's just how it is, unfortunately. But this map, I would recommend either Drive-In Theater 2 or Train with No Destination 5 for Hotel Arcus. Now, let us go to... what is it, Odium? Yeah, Odium. Alright, Odium has 2 maps that I really like. This is the first map, and this is the map that I spent pretty much all of my time on my Nightwalker in Odium, Road to the Castle Gate 2. Reason being, it isn't a max spawn capacity map, but it is a map where you can just stand in the middle and hold down your FMA, in my case, Shadow Bite, and I can just full clear the map. Soul Janus, obviously, you should have Soul Janus at this point. You should have had Soul Janus pretty much when you got to Cernium. Should be one of your first unlocks. Soul Janus just makes farming so much easier on every single class in the game. Highly recommend it. You must do it. Do it! But that being said, this is the map that I like the most, honestly. It is a very chill map. You just sit in one spot, hold button, watch show while you grind. Very easy. Another good map that I do like quite a bit is the laboratory maps, and I cannot remember which lab it is. Is it Lab 2? Is it Lab 2? No, it is not Lab 2. Lab 1? Yes, it's Lab 1. Lab 1, this map is pretty good because you can kind of see it's just 3 different tiers of platforms, and it's kind of... I would say it's a medium-sized map. It's not a large map. It's a medium-sized map. It's very easy to just kind of back and forth it, which is obviously an important thing for a lot of maps. There is a portal here that takes you over here if you're able to functionally use the portal well. Some classes like Angelic Buster can ball farm like this. You ball farm, you go take the portal, ball farm, you throw out your Soul Seekers. I'm sure there's a lot of classes that can do something similar to that, so it's something to keep in mind and definitely worth noting. But the next area we're going to is Shangri-La. Alright, Shangri-La is sort of the onset of the really big maps. I like Harsh Winter 4, and most of my time in Shangri-La was spent in Harsh Winter 4. There are a bunch of different maps you can try. Again, I think a lot of this stuff comes down to personal preference. I think Grandis Plus is really where it starts to be sort of, you need to explore for yourself and figure out what maps you personally like best that fits the rates that you personally want to get. Because a lot of these maps, there's different effort ratios in and out, but this is the map that I spent pretty much my whole time in Shangri-La in. I like this map. It is a very large map. There is a portal here that takes you to the other side, which I very rarely used. And there is something to say about the down jump in Shangri-La. If you down jump off the platform, this goes for any Shangri-La map, you will teleport to a set point in the map. And there is a portal here too. That portal takes you to the top portals, but the top portals bounce you back and forth. There's one on each side, if that makes sense, right? So you can kind of do something like this. I've seen people do this, but this would probably annoy me, and I would lose my mind if I farmed like that. But like I said, that's why, again, maplemaps.net is a really good tool to help you map like rotations and figure out maps that would work for you, or just go in game and look at maps yourself. Honestly, that's the best way to do it, and that's what I've spent a lot of time doing. Run a battle analysis, see how the rotation feels, see how many mobs per minute you're killing. I would do 6-minute BAs, and you can figure out a lot of stuff for yourself. And some of the maps that people don't talk about might actually be pretty good. Shock. Alright, so you made it to 280 and you're in Arteria. So Arteria is very strange, because a lot of the starting Arteria maps are very difficult to farm, in my opinion. They're either very difficult to farm, or they have low mob count. This is the map that I spent a little bit of time in initially when I first came here, because I wasn't able to go to the higher level maps. Combat Zone Outskirts 1. This map is absolutely humongous. It is fucking large. It is hard to farm, but it was one of the best options at the time for me that I felt like I could pick. So I stayed here, obviously, until I was able to go to the bottom decks. Bottom deck, Passage 3, is then where I spent the rest of my time in Arteria. I stayed here until 285. Why did I stay here? Well, this map sort of allowed me to bite farm. And if you haven't noticed by now, bite farming is what I like to do. I like to bite farm whenever possible. So I would set my fountain up. I don't remember, would I set it up here or above? I would set it up over there. And then I would stand here and I would bite farm. There is a portal here that does take you over here. So some people like to stand on the portal, take the loot, but the way that I see it, I'm going to be looting anyways and replacing my summons, so I'm going to be walking all over the map anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But I stayed in this map until 285. There are tons of other maps in here, and there's also the top deck maps, which are not bad. Again, I think it's more of a personal preference type thing. You have to go trial and error it yourself. Again, at this point, this is just kind of me showing you the maps that I used, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I'm just going to let you know the maps that I use, the maps that I like, why I use them, and, you know, gives you a basis to start off of, right? But Carcion. Let's go to Carcion. Alright, so if you're somebody who's watched my videos for quite some time, you'll know that when I first got to Carcion, I spent a lot of my time in Giant Coral Colony 2. This was the map that I chose to grind in. Reason being, I could bite farm it very easily. I place my fountain here, and then I stand on the far left side of this platform and just hold down my Shadow Bite, and it would pretty much clear the whole map. Now, this map is very unpopular compared to pretty much all of the other maps in here, and the main reason why I chose this map is because it was unpopular, and you can kind of see even right now, it's hard to see with all my buffs popping up and how fast they disappear. But there is 20% burning on this map already. And again, keep in mind, I'm in Chronos. Burning in Carcion is very rare to see outside of like the maintenance just happening. So that is part of the reason why I like Giant Coral Colony 2. And this is a max spawn count map as well. So again, this is sort of what I mean when I say, look at the maps that people don't talk about and see if they're farmable. Because this map is very farmable for a Nightwalker. It's very easy. I have to replace my fountain every minute if I want to full clear and get max rates. But even if I don't mind getting max rates, I don't have to place the fountain and I can just Shadow Bite farm, right? I could. And then I would only have to loot every 2 minutes instead of replacing the fountain every 1 minute. Some other notable mentions are Coral Colony 1 and 3. Coral Colony 3, I think, is the most popular of the Coral Colonies. As you can see, there's 2 people here already, so I can't even show you. But I think people like this map just because it's kind of flat-ish and it's left-right. Another popular zone when you first get into Carcion is the Calm Beaches. Not Calm Beach 1 specifically. Calm Beach 1... I mean, it's still... All of the Calm Beaches are kind of popular, but Calm Beach 2, I think, is by far the most popular. Yeah, there's 2 people in this map. Again, it's just because I guess it's sort of semi-flat left to right. I don't really know. And with Soul Janus, you can farm so many different maps. Like, you don't need to pick these, like, maps that people just say, hey, go here. It doesn't make sense. And that's kind of why I discovered Coral Colony 2. But I went from Coral Colony 2 once I got to level 287, because level range, you want to stay within 1 level of the monsters to get maximum experience. So I moved from Giant Coral Colony 2 to Enfolding Forest 3. This is my current map, and this will be my current map until I hit level 290. This map has gained a lot of popularity in recent days. It used to be kind of unpopular, and it would be rare to see like anyone else here, to be honest. But in recent days, I've noticed there's a lot more people here. I hope it stays to the point to where I can always find a map here, but we will see. But obviously, I like this map specifically for Nightwalkers. This map might not be super great for other classes. Again, like I said, completely class dependent, and you should look at these maps and figure out what works best for you and your class. But this map is so good for bite farming on Nightwalker. You can pretty much full clear this map just by standing where I'm standing, holding Shadow Bite with Soul Janus Dusk on. It's so good. The only spawns you might sometimes miss is if one of the Panthers stands on the far right here, and the far right, like just on this like very, very, very far right of edge. Those are the only Panthers that you will ever possibly miss. And the Shadow Bats can bounce to them, so sometimes you do clear them. But like, I don't place Fountain or anything. I just loot every 2 minutes. Well, I kind of wiggle every like 45 seconds to make sure my procs keep procking, because Soul Janus will stop procking. But that's neither here nor there. This map is where I'm going to stay until 290. And with that, that concludes my very, very long training guide, my 2025 training guide. I hope you guys liked this. If for some reason you're watching this till the very end, thank you. Hopefully you guys like the video. Hopefully you guys think it deserves a subscription. Bigger number, better person. Thank you guys so much for watching, though, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Like, subscribe. Thank you to my YouTube members. It's Biscuits Ender Diz, Remix My Life, I'm Nufu. Love all of you guys very, very much, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye!